The dust never lies. My name is Marvelle June Carter, and I'm 83 years old. I've lived most of my life in the same broken-down shack at the edge of Willow Creek, a quiet little town in Kentucky no one ever talks about unless they're passing through or running from something. They say I raised my son, Calvin, in poverty. And they're right, at least, on the outside. We had rats under the floorboards, wind through the walls, and a roof that leaked like a sinner at church. I made pancakes out of flour and water, prayed over boiled dandelions, and used dish soap for shampoo. Calvin went to school in shoes with cardboard soles and still had the nerve to thank me every morning. That boy was sunshine with scars. But life has a way of turning soft hearts into hard stone. When Calvin turned 25, he married Stacy, a loud woman with perfect teeth and an even louder opinion about everything I wasn't. She told him I was holding him back. That I was a burden. That no man should still be helping his mama fix her porch when he could be buying a new house. Soon enough, he stopped coming around. First once a week. Then once a month. Then, never. I was left in that creaky house with nothing but the radio, my garden, and the silence. But here's what they don't know. That little shack. It's sitting on something bigger than they ever imagined. I never told Calvin. Never told anyone. Because some secrets are meant to sleep deep. Until it's time to wake them up. And tonight, for the first time in 53 years, I dug up the box. It was buried under the old oak tree behind the shack, the one Calvin carved his name into when he was 8, back when he still believed in magic and thought I could fix anything with a kiss and a bandage. I wrapped the box in oilcloth, just like my father taught me. My hands shook as I peeled back the layers. Arthritis makes everything harder these days, except remembering. Inside was what I'd hidden from the whole world. A yellowed deed, a letter in my husband's handwriting, and a key I haven't touched since the day Calvin was born. You see, my husband, Thaddeus, wasn't just a sweet-talking dreamer. Before the accident, he'd stumbled onto something. A piece of land sitting on untapped mineral rights, dirt cheap and overlooked. Everyone thought it was worthless. But he believed in it, and he bought it for pennies just days before he died. I never told a soul. I raised Calvin on my own, doing laundry for neighbors, making pies to sell at church fundraisers, all while knowing we were sitting on a hidden fortune. But I was afraid of what money would do to him. Afraid it would change him. And then Stacy came along, and I saw in her eyes the very thing I feared most. Greed, so I stayed quiet. Let them believe. Believe I was poor. Let Calvin walk away thinking his mama was just some tired old woman who never dreamed big enough. But time has a funny way of sharpening things, and now I see what I couldn't before. I'm not going to the grave with this secret. Not when it still has a chance to make things right, or burn everything to the ground. But before I can decide, I hear tires on gravel. A car. Calvin's car. I haven't seen it in 7 years. And he's not alone. He's brought her. Stacy. I didn't move when I heard the car door slam. Instead, I sat right there on the back porch, the box tucked beneath a quilt at my feet, heart pounding like it hadn't in years. Then I heard her voice. Is she even awake? You said she forgets things now. Forget. I may be old, but I remember everything. Please like and subscribe. Hen came Calvin's voice. Softer. Guiltier. Just be nice, Stacy. Please. She's still my mother. The screen door creaked open. I didn't turn. Hi, Mama, he said. I looked over my shoulder. My boy, my only child, stood there with grey in his beard and exhaustion in his eyes. The same eyes that used to shine when he brought me weeds from the yard, pretending they were flowers. 7 years, Calvin, I said, my voice calm. And all I get is hi, Mama. He lowered his head. I know I've been distant. Life got complicated. I looked past him at Stacy, standing with perfect posture, fake smile, and a purse too expensive for someone who still owed me an apology. I heard you were sick, Calvin said, stepping closer. Stacy thought it was time we, settled some things. Settled. That word burned like fire in my chest. They thought I was dying. They didn't come for me, they came for what they thought I had left. Don't worry, I said, standing slowly, my knees cracking like dry branches. I've already settled everything. Stacy perked up. You mean your affairs? Your will? I smiled, sweet and sharp. No, dear. I mean the truth. And just then, I kicked the quilt aside and pulled out the box. Calvin's eyes narrowed. What's that? I looked straight at him. My boy, the one I raised on love and sacrifice. I looked straight at him. My boy, the one I raised on love and sacrifice. This, son, is the life I never told you about. And it's going to change everything. I handed the box to Calvin. His hands trembled as he opened it, pulling out the old deed, the worn letter, and the rusted key. He looked confused. Then skeptical. What is this? He asked. I took a breath. It's the land your daddy bought before he died. 57 acres. It's got oil underneath it. Real oil. He knew, even back then. But when he passed, no one believed me. And I didn't have the money to fight for it. So I waited. Watched. Prayed. Stacy leaned in, her eyes scanning the papers like a wolf eyeing prey. Oil. You're saying this land is valuable? More than valuable, I said. A company tried to buy the rights 20 years ago. I said no. Because I wasn't ready. Calvin stepped back, stunned. You had all this. All these years. While I was working double shifts. While you lived with holes in the roof and spoiled food in the fridge. I nodded slowly. Yes, I did. Why, Mama? Why would you hide this from me? My throat tightened. Because I saw what money did to people. I saw how it made good folks greedy. I wanted to raise you humble, kind, strong. And you were. Until. I glanced at Stacy. Her smile dropped. You think this is my fault? She snapped. I think you came into my son's life and made him ashamed of me. Calvin held up the letter. What's this? Your daddy's handwriting, I whispered. He wrote it the day he signed the deed. He said, if this ever comes to light, take care of our boy. But don't let money raise him. Let love do that. Calvin read it. Twice. Then his eyes turned glassy. I could have helped you, he said quietly. We could have moved. We could have had a life. You did, I said, my voice shaking. You had a life. A good one. You married. You worked. And I kept my promise. But I could feel something shifting. Not in Calvin. In Stacy. She was holding the key now. Gripping it too tightly. And behind her eyes, I saw something that made my blood go cold. She wasn't thinking about family. She was thinking about ownership. Please like and comment your opinion on this story. Stacy clutched the key like it already belonged to her. Where is this land, exactly? She asked, too sweet, too fast. I smiled. The kind of smile that comes after a long, quiet life of being underestimated. It's not in my name anymore, I said calmly. Stacy blinked. What? Calvin looked at me, confused. You transferred it. I nodded. 5 years ago. After I realized I wouldn't be around forever, I put the land in a trust for my granddaughter. Little Emery. She's only 6 now, but one day, when she's old enough to understand what love really means, she'll inherit it all. Stacy's face dropped like a curtain. You gave it to a child, she spat. No, I said, steady. I gave it to someone untouched by greed. Calvin looked at me, his voice cracking. Why didn't you tell me? Because I didn't know if you'd protect her from people like this, I said, glancing at Stacy. But now I see, maybe you still can. Stacy stepped forward, eyes blazing. You think you're clever? That you can just skip us and give everything away? I stood, tall as I could. My hands shook, but my voice didn't. I gave away nothing. I earned that land, buried the secret, and waited for the right soul to carry it forward. You just showed up when you smelled money. She opened her mouth to speak, but Calvin stopped her. No, he said, soft but firm. You've said enough. He turned to me. I'm sorry, Mama. For leaving. For letting years go by. For letting her come between us. I reached out, took his hand, older now, calloused like his father's once were. "I don't need your apology," I whispered. "I just needed you to see me." And in that moment, he did. Not as a poor old woman in a creaky shack, but as the mother who sacrificed everything to raise him right, and still made sure her legacy would live on. As they left, Stacy stormed ahead, the fight in her eyes replaced by bitter silence. Calvin stayed a moment longer, kissed my forehead, and held the box to his chest like it weighed 1,000 pounds. And me. I sat back down on my porch, tea in hand, the wind warm on my face. Let them think I was just a poor old woman. Let them think I was fading. But now they know. I was never broke. Just quiet. And now, my voice will live forever.